Christmas Eve, babe, on the podcast. What's up, Scott?
He actually does not get paid to sing, y'all. Hope y'all are having a good week this week. This is It Just Means Less with Tabak and Warren. It's Christmas. Got my horny hat on. Right on. Y'all, we got a pretty good slate for us this week. We're going to actually be talking about one of my favorite subjects. It's a sport that's dead and gone. We're going to be talking about NASCAR and the 1979 Daytona 500 and how they got started and why they're dead now. Then we're going to be talking about MLB moves this week. We got a couple of good moves that's happening and one potential move that we have really spent some time talking about off camera that we really think the Red Sox should take a deep look at. Bowl games this week. Got some big ones coming up. You got the New Year's Six Bowls happening. There's going to be a lot of cool shit going on with that. The surging Seahawks, man, where have they come from? We're going to be discussing that pretty decently tonight. And then, of course, we're going to end it up with our favorite sports movie of the week and recommendation from each of us. Zachary, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing well. Last week I was kind of sick. I'm getting over that right now. I'm excited for, this whole holiday week that we have coming up. You got Christmas, you got that weird 5-day period where you don't know what day it is till New Year's comes around. So, I'm just excited for the vibes, excited to see my family. I think I killed it with the Christmas with the gifts. So it's
Right
it's
on.
it's good vibes. How about you, man?
Man, hey, it's just another Christmas, brother. That's all it is to it. My mom and I, we usually don't really do a whole lot. It's just the two of us. So we just gonna kind of keep it between us, eat a good meal, and hang out with my buddy Fenway, and we're gonna watch football tomorrow.
That's all
So
that really matters at the end of the day.
hell yeah, dude, good times, right?
Yeah.
All right, the first thing I want to talk about tonight is going to be the 1979 Daytona 500. NASCAR has just completely died over the past several years. And it all began when Dale Earnhardt was killed in that tragic crash at the Daytona 500. But what got them their start is out of nowhere in 1979 on CBS, Ken Squire, I believe, was one that was calling the race. The last lap was, I mean, you could not have written this any better. One of the Allisons and Kel Yarborough get into each other. Okay, they end up wrecking on the back straightaway. What happens after that? Richard Petty comes zipping by and goes on to win that Daytona 500. Well, the next thing you know, not one, but both of the Allison brothers and Kel Yarborough are tying up in the grass. They've gotten out of their cars, and I mean, they are that man, they're throwing punches. And it was absolutely hilarious. I actually got to go to the Atlanta race one year, Cracker Barrel 500, and I got to sit there and watch the Allisons and Kel Yarborough talk, sitting in rocking chairs in the hospitality, the VIP tent for the Cracker Barrel operation. And I got to hear them each tell their side of the stories, and I got their autographs too. I would love to come across those things, but I really enjoyed talking to them. I really enjoyed hearing that story and how all of that took place. But that is what got NASCAR where they were at. That's what developed their following literally overnight. And every year after that, the Daytona 500 is there. Well, now you can't even hardly find a damn race. I mean, I don't know if they're on FS1 or I don't think they're on NBC, CBS, and Fox. I mean, I just don't keep up with it. After Dale Earnhardt died, that was the beginning of the death of NASCAR. And here's where NASCAR drops the ball repeatedly. First of all, they knew about the seatbelt issue. It had already been reported and complained about. And so they didn't step in and make any adjustments. So when Dale Earnhardt goes up into the wall, his buckle is turned sideways, and that thing acts as a knife. And his belt it severs it like that. And he hits the steering wheel, and of course we lose a legend. But what they did after that, they finally decided that, you know what, we need to change the seatbelt. Makes no sense. I mean, granted, hell yeah, you do, because you just lost an icon who, without him, you're going to fail miserably. And guess what happened? That's exactly what the hell they did. Failed miserably. I mean, it was bad. And so now they put a rule on everything. If two drivers get into it, you know what they do? Slap them on the back of their hand to the trailer. You're going to get fined. You can't do that. Bullshit. That's what got them where they're at. That's why hockey has a following. They don't screw with that. I mean, I know there are some rules that have been changed, but at the same time, I mean, let them go. It's a freaking sport. That's what they do. I mean, look back at the Roman times when they used to be in the Colosseum, how they'd behead each other. We're not looking at beheading people. We're just looking at somebody getting their damn ass whipped. And quite frankly, some of them need it, especially the the leaders of NASCAR. They got to go, man. I mean, the France family, they are so dug deep into this, you'll never get them out. So here's my solution. You ready for this, Zachary?
Go for it.
My solution is this. You need to get somebody like Tony Stewart, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Darrell Waltrip, Michael Waltrip, some of the Bill Elliott, some of the older drivers. They need to come together and come up with their own race circuit. And they need to go back to the old school rules. You build your own damn car. You don't have to drive a cookie cutter anymore. You build your car. Here are the specifications, but we're not going to go like completely over the top with restrictor plates and all the other bullshit that's entitled to it. So if you remove all of that and you just put hardcore racing into it, guess
Yeah.
what? Racing again will be right up at the top of the charts. But until then, it's not going to happen. The tickets at Talladega are absolutely, they're pathetic. I mean, used to, when the last time I went, I was at the Talladega race. The last time Earnhardt won there, the man goes from like 27th or 28th to first place in 4 freaking laps. Damnedest thing I ever seen him on. He wasn't drafted. He was driving between cars in the middle of the turns and passing their ass like they weren't even there.
Yeah.
So, but the ticket price then the ticket price was like $300 to sit in the tower seats. Now it's less than 100. I mean, they got to do
And we're
something.
talking 20 years ago. We're talking money 20 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean,
That's
imagine
crazy.
what it would be now. I mean, hell, that's like going to a concert to see somebody worth the shit. You're going to pay $2,000 for
It
six
should be a
clothes.
grand. It should be a grand at least.
Yeah, exactly,
You know.
exactly. But they're not doing that. They
So
will. They're gonna end up flopping, and I hope the group comes together and forms that. So that's my rant this week for that. We've
yeah.
been promising to talk about it for the past couple of weeks, and
Right.
we finally decided to pull the trigger on it.
Right.
Our next thing is going to be
Wait, hold
MLB.
up. There's a couple things I want to run past you on
Go
that.
ahead.
So just because I'm kind of a novice when it comes to NASCAR. Um, I looked up the Dale Earnhardt death because it's something that he talked to me about, and here I am. I'm expecting some big flippy shit, fireball. The dude literally just broke his neck because of a faulty belt. Like I don't know if
Yeah,
there was any puncture, but he
nobody
basically,
knows. There's only one guy that there's only one driver that actually saw that immediately after fact, and that was Ken Trader. And
yeah,
Ken Trader, out of respect and his love for that family, Earnhardt and then Earnhardt Jr. and everybody else, and
yeah,
I mean Earnhart's widow, he's kept his mouth shut. I mean,
right.
that's about as respectful as you can be, but there's always
I,
that part where inquiring minds want to know, and I'm just curious to know exactly what it was.
the way he rolled to stop, I think it was just it could have been a neck thing. Because you would have seen probably you would have heard from people that like
Yeah.
if the dude got his neck severed or like got like he wasn't decapitated. We know that for a fact, right?
No. No. Yeah. No.
So it was probably he broke his neck and he just took his foot off the gas, and that is one of the saddest things. Um, and especially in a sport like that, you think you're gonna have to do a flip. It was the most anticlimactic thing I've ever seen. I'm like,
Right.
what the hell happened? I
Right.
don't even think he even hit anybody. I think he brushed against the wall.
Yeah.
Um, and then the other thing, another guy I would throw in there is Jeff Gordon. I think Jeff Gordon for the collective, like basically, I think what you were trying to get at is with when it comes to NASCAR, obviously F1's becoming bigger probably in the States than NASCAR is, which is kind of insane. I think what you want for NASCAR, what a lot of people want for NASCAR is like what Live Golf is doing, is kind of having that alternative where you're taking a lot of the veterans and you're putting them on a circuit where it's really grassroots and it's really
Yeah.
just down to what racing was. Racing's an expensive ass sport. It's hard to get sponsorships and I don't even want to know how much money they're losing because we don't know their distribution deals. Jeff Gordon, I think I mean, you could argue with me on this. Jeff Gordon is the name that I always saw after Dale died. And granted, I was a young kid, but like Jeff Gordon was the market piece. You had Stewart from Home Depot. You had obviously Junior as well, but Jeff Gordon was like kind of like the poster child. I feel like Jeff Gordon was, and he was so uncontroversial, like
Yeah,
he'd be perfect to kind of head that.
yeah,
Um, and Yarborough, I was introduced to Yarborough when he was on the Dukes of Hazzard
yeah,
in like season two. That I was 8 years old watching the Dukes of Hazzard, and the crazy thing about that Petty win that you just mentioned, like obviously I know Richard Petty, I'm not like a complete bozo. Um, I think he's like the most winningest racer of all time, and that was towards the end of his career when he won
mhm,
that Daytona 500. Like he won like seven or something beforehand. So it just shows that if they embraced the testosterone that is in
yeah,
racing,
yeah,
how much more popular they could have been. Because you look at probably some of the most exciting and critically acclaimed and box office worthy movies in the
yeah,
70s, they're car movies.
yeah,
Like everyone knows Bullet. Everyone remembers watching Starsky and Hutch. It's like the market was starving for that type of shit.
yeah.
And the market still is we don't, I mean, we don't want power slap out on the tarmac.
No,
We don't want people but we want people to be able to speak their minds.
yeah,
And that's what NASCAR needs. But it's like they're ministers of propaganda, and you
yeah,
don't hear dick,
no,
and that is
yeah,
killing the sport.
yeah,
So that's my little rebuttal
yeah,
on NASCAR thing. I did a little bit of research,
yeah.
so I'll let you get. Let's talk about or let's talk about the Red Sox, man. Who are we in on right now?
Nobody. I mean,
Be worth a damn at this point, honestly. Like,
well, here's what I've got through my research this the last few several days. The Angels are hot and heavy after Blake Snell. I mean, super hot and heavy. So everybody was waiting to see where Yamamoto was going. And I find it completely, there is no excuse for the Red Sox and any other team for that matter. But, I mean, hell, we're Red Sox fans, so that's what we're going to bitch about the most, right?
yeah, that was the last episode title.
Yeah, exactly. There is no excuse whatsoever for us to bank everything on that one player and like, oh, we didn't get him. Okay, so what are we going to do now? Where's the planning? Where's the strategy? Where's the rock solid approach to building a team at? It's not there. It's non-existent.
Yeah,
it is not happening as we speak. They could not screw this up any more than they are right now. And that's any season since 2018. This is the worst that I've seen. We just got Breslow in, and he's supposed to be like the former player, former pitcher, which I don't get me wrong, I'm excited about. I know the haters are going to stand up and bitch about me saying that. But here's the deal. Who's at fault here? Is it Breslow? Is it who I think it is? And it's the front office and the Fenway Sports Group? I mean, what
I
is
think
it?
he's
Something needs to
handicapped.
be done because here's my theory, and hear me out on this, Zachary. Here's my theory. If you're winning games and the Red Sox of all people are contenders and in first place, you know what's going to happen? They already sell out every game, so they're definitely going to sell out more games. Their swag sales, t-shirts and everything else is going to go through the freaking roof because people are going to want to celebrate this. They're going to want to celebrate Blake Snell's jersey or Jordan Montgomery's jersey or Yamamoto's jersey or Shohei's jersey. I mean, hell, Shohei's jersey went through the damn roof when he signed with the
Right,
Dodgers.
right.
I mean, seriously. I mean, hell, he even gave Joe Kelly's wife a car for being the reason why Joe Kelly gave up, or supposed reason why Joe Kelly gave up his number to Shohei. I mean, seriously, I don't see anybody from the front office saying, okay, this Red Sox Nation, it's okay, we got this. We're going to do this, 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 and this. And that's what we have set in place for this year for our plan. We haven't even heard of a stick that we were, I mean, that we're looking at. What are we going to do about defense? You know, well, we're hurting worse in the bullpen and starting pitchers, obviously, but shit, we're not even hearing anything about that. I do not understand the mentality behind this at all. And I wish somebody would just explain it to me.
So it's like, the Rolodex is kind of broken for the Red Sox right now.
Yeah, no shit.
I mean, if the report was true that we offered 300 million, that's right in the wheelhouse. I mean, we were right there.
Yeah,
At this point, it just comes down to, he's playing with someone that he has a lot of esteem for, being Shohei. And part of me thinks this was kind of written in the stars. Shohei taking maybe because the Dodgers weren't really in like their Dodgers weren't like being mentioned with Yamamoto. It was like New York, us, and San Fran.
yeah.
And it makes you think that he took all that deferred money. So as far as I know, Yamamoto is getting paid up front. I mean, there might be some of it deferred toward like it's backloaded, but
Yeah.
he's getting $2 million a year.
But
Um,
they could
so
also be tying up a bonus and other kinds of shit like that.
right. So
On the back
you know,
end. So
it's just it's really sketchy because I feel like Jordan Montgomery and Blake Snell should both be off the board. And everyone's just playing. They're pretending to play chess, but they're really playing checkers because
yeah,
it's two it's two different sides of the coin. You don't have all these other pieces with different powers. You're moving around these black and red pieces,
yeah,
and it's this or that.
yeah.
And I mean, you could blame the rest of the league. They're not being multifaceted enough in their approach.
No,
Um, there's no plan A, plan B, plan C.
no. Yeah,
So I feel like Breslow's kind of handicapped because everyone else is being a slug, you know. You should be hearing more bat rumors. I'm hearing Teoscar Hernandez that's not that bad of an idea. I don't think the offense was the issue. The
no.
defense was an issue,
Yep.
but that issue kind of dissipated after Kike got traded. Because Kike, going into the season, I think he had like 40 errors total in his career. He had 14 by the time he was traded at
Right.
shortstop. And that was 3 months, which is just god awful. So, you repivot. Obviously, there's big name free agents like Blake Snell still out there. You got Jordan Montgomery, you got Shota Imanaga from Japan still. I think the kid from the KBO is still available. I'm not sure. I'm just because everyone's so hyper fixated on the fact that the Dodgers dropped all this money on this unproven foreign arm, and it's like that like back of the mind kind of like I wouldn't say xenophobia, but like the fear of the unknown,
Yeah,
and everyone kind of be like, shit, you spent $300 on a guy that never threw a pitch. And I mean, listen, we spent a decent amount of money on Japanese pitchers that never threw a pitch in the
uh-huh.
major leagues, and I don't think you could say any of them were a dud.
No,
Um, so I'm not opposed to still spending money on the next big thing, coming from the rising sun. I'm not. Um, but one name that we were talking about, James Paxton. You could argue that he's still coming off a brand new arm, pretty much. It's going to be as healthy as he's going to be for the rest of his career. If
yeah,
I wouldn't be opposed to throwing a 2-year, $24 million deal at him. He was flirting with an all-star bid. Like
yeah,
people forget, he was flirting with an all-star bid, and I think he got a like hamstring. Um, you need that type of arm in there because he's going to take reps away from Whitlock and Hauk. And
yeah,
Whitlock and Hauk, that it's going to force Whitlock and Hauk to be in the bullpen, which is honestly the strongest part of our team, I think,
yeah,
because you saw how they kept us in it as long as they did. Um, Another guy we're hearing is Luzardo from Miami. Luzardo's only 26 years old.
yeah,
I think if remember correctly, I think he had like a sub 4 ERA 3 straight seasons, which is good for a young kid.
yeah,
Um, so I'm not opposed to that either. And we have an abundance of prospects that probably won't sniff the major leagues because um, we have a lot of infielder prospects coming up. So make that move. Breslow should not be afraid to move prospects. That was High and Bloom's baby, and that baby, could be somebody else's. Um, as far as I'm concerned. So there's one guy that I want you to talk about. I have the stats on him of why they should sign him, but who do you have not your heart set on, but it's a name no one's talking about.
Trevor Bauer, baby.
Yeah,
Trevor fucking Bauer. Bring
yeah,
him back, man. Give him a shot. He has been vocal on YouTube about expressing interest in coming back to MLB, but I think he got the shaft, man. I mean, he's putting up some pretty solid, really solid numbers in Japan. I would love to have him back, and I would damn sure love to have him on the Red Sox. I mean, he brings his own following to begin with, so that's going to add to the fan base that we already, is already, in my opinion, the biggest fan base in all of sports right now. And I mean, it's just going to help. It will be a win-win for the Red Sox because he's a hell of an arm. He has a lot of experience, a solid experience in being a starting pitcher. And, hey, it might not be a bad idea if we picked him up and maybe, flirted with Jordan Montgomery or Blake Snell if we got them. All of a sudden, I'm like, hey, you know what? Let's throw some money at Paxton. Let's put his ass in the bullpen.
yeah. I mean, imagine Bauer being your number two or your number three.
Oh, God. That would be awesome.
Like, I mean, honestly, like you're gonna see some revolt if you sign Valor. He cannot be your day one, your opening day starter. It's gonna be probably Bayo at how the roster's looking right now because you need to put him front and center. Um, the thing with Bauer is he has his money still. He's still getting paid by the Dodgers. I've seen a lot of clips of him working with YouTubers. And a lot of kids. He does seem like a changed man. I do think, there was a lot of information that came out that that girl was trying to set him up. And, I'm not, excusing what he did. It was still some nefarious shit.
Yeah.
But um he didn't break any laws.
No.
Um, so this is his stats for last year when he was playing with the Yokohama and the NPB, which is the top league in Japan. Basically the best foreign feeder league in the world.
Yeah.
19 games, he had a 10-4 record and a 2.76 ERA with 130 strikeouts across 102 thirds innings. So he's having a strikeout per inning. Um, maybe a little bit less than what he's used to, but that ERA is low, so that means he's getting probably a lot of ground balls, which I don't think he was really known for. Um, and he's elected free agency. He's going to be 33 next
Yeah.
year, but
Which
he
is
basically
fine.
had a year and a half off. And we kind of deride the Red Sox for, being sluts for reclamation projects. I don't think instead of it being an injury reclamation, I don't think you could really find anybody else across the sport that would be a bigger reclamation project than him. Outside of Yasiel Puig. Yasiel Puig. Oh shit. Yeah, that would be different. But
Right.
uh nah, Ballard broke no laws.
Mm-mm.
Um, throw 1 year, $10 million contract in him. If you're gonna sit here and tell me that he's not worth 1 year, $10 million, he's a former Cy Young winner. That's what we gave to Garrett Richards.
Yeah.
So if I mean, why not? And that's what you gave to Corey Kluber. Dude has a 7 ERA. You could do a lot worse than Trevor Bauer.
Well,
The optics would suck initially, but I mean that they're gonna shit on us no matter what.
well, here's a complete misdirection, and this is going to go away from Trevor Bauer a little bit, or a
Yeah,
lot of bit actually. We've got this farm system that is freaking stacked. I mean, this is what we've done for the past 4 or 5 years. We have stacked the farm system.
rebuilt it.
I mean, completely. We've got some hammers. I mean, shit, Blaze Jordan is a beast. Uh, The list just goes on and on and on. I mean, we've got pitchers, we've got fielders, we've got outfielders, we've got hitters, we've got all of this stuff. Okay, why aren't we using some of these guys that are a little bit less, spotlighty, for lack of better words? And let's go pick some people up, man. I mean, let's stop screwing with prospects in the farm system, and let's win another freaking World Series and quit fucking around with all of this shit. Let's deal some of this shit out we've got in AAA and AA that, quite frankly, it seems like we're never going to see some of them. I mean, I know they've got some maturing to do, but at the same time,
You still
minor.
can't have them all. Even if they all hit, you can't have them all.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and so why hoard all these guys when it'd be a perfect route for us to go and pick up some good damn players to come in, and instead of putting a band-aid by signing a turd, hey, you know what? Let's rip off the band-aid, get rid of their ass, and let's get somebody here that's going to make a damn difference and an impact immediately. I don't give a
Let's
shit
flip
what's going
them.
to happen in 5 years. I don't care what's going to happen in 3 years. I want to know what's going to happen this season of 2024. That's what I want to see happen. That should always be every team's mentality is, what are we going to do to win this year? What can we do to win this year? Period. That should be the number one question we're asking. Who gives a shit about 20,
Right.
30, 2035? Who cares? I mean,
Well, at
pick this
least get
half-ass
better.
mentality, man.
At least get better. You
Yeah.
know. All right. So Paxton, Bauer, if we get them both, and we miss out on Snell and Montgomery and Imanaga, that's still a solid rotation. You got Bayo. I think you would go Paxton before Bauer, just because initially Bauer. Um, then you get into the little teeter tottering at 3 and 4. I mean 4 and 5. I'd probably go. I'm leaning towards Crawford at 4, and then Sale at 5, and keep Pivetta in the bullpen.
Yeah.
That gets you to 500, and that's perhaps even better.
Yeah.
Next topic on the agenda. You've kind of kept your eye on them this year. They're kind of a dark horse in the NFC. Um, let's talk about them Seahawks. They're on a.
The
I mean, they're
Seahawks
they're
have
only on a
a
2 game win streak, but I mean,
yeah.
it's the way they've won that's really been the difference maker.
Yeah, I'm pulling up their schedule now just to go over it in its entirety. I mean, all right, they started the season out against the Rams. Okay, lost to the Rams 30-13, so they pretty much got their asses handed. All right, then they turn around and they beat the Lions in overtime 37-31. So now
On
they're
the
one
road.
and one. Next thing you know, they play the Panthers. Well, hell, everybody's beat the Panthers except for one freaking team, whoever the hell that poor bastard is, but they lost to them. Seahawks turn around and beat the Giants after that. Giants have been struggling, especially earlier in the season. Now that they got Papa DeVito on the field, it's a hell of a lot different, right? So,
Yeah.
then the Bengals beat them. That 17-13. That was a low scoring game. They
They
turned
had
around
Burrow
after that
too.
game and beat the Seahawks. Then they lost to the Ravens, got their asses handed to them 37-3. Beat the Commanders by 3 points.
They beat the Browns
Lost
too.
to the Rams a second time, 17-16. This time it was a lot closer, so they gave the Rams a scare. Then 49ers, Seahawks, 49ers are beating everybody. Then they got beat by the Cowboys. Got beat by the 49ers a second time. Turn around, beat the Eagles, and now today they beat the Titans. And they did it at the last minute with a DK Metcalf touchdown. I mean, and we all know where DK Metcalf played football. Ole Miss. So I'm definitely proud of DK, and I love seeing him do well. That man, since he left us, that dude has blown up. He is massive, super massive. Massive. I was talking to a friend of mine earlier today that's a huge Seahawks fan, and they're like, hey, when we go, we sit in the end zone on a purpose. It's just so we can be right there next to the players. And DK Metcalf is a beast. And I'm like, I'm sure he is. I mean, hell, he can fly like the wind. His speed is unbelievable. And he can catch a ball from just probably any angle available. Seriously. So
Yeah.
the Seahawks, man, they're making some moves right now. The rest of their season, I mean, they only got 2 games left, so they're playing the Steelers, which both teams will be 8-7 going into this game, and then they close out against the 3-12 Cardinals. So the Cardinals game you would think is pretty much going to be a gimme. And I wonder, now that they have clinched their opportunity to get into the playoffs now with a win today, I mean, guess what, man? They beat the Steelers and, of course, probably beat the Cardinals. Then, I mean, Seahawks have come out of nowhere. And like I said, right now, they're 8-7
No.
and clinched a spot in playoffs. So, I mean, good for them, man. Proud for
No,
them.
Seahawks haven't clinched yet.
Oh, no, I'm thinking about the Dolphins. I'm sorry.
So the thing with the Seahawks is that I think you could argue they only need to win one of their next games
Yeah.
because they're seventh right now.
Yeah.
So that's a wild card spot. So you got New Orleans at 7-8, Green Bay at 7-8, Atlanta at 7-8, and Minnesota at 7-8. And with Minnesota with their backup quarterback, I mean they got the Packers and they got the Lions. I think they could easily go 0-2 in those games.
Right.
And then you got the Falcons, they got the Saints and the Bears. I think they'll win one of those, probably against the Saints, just because going to Soldier Field and late December is never easy. Um, and then New Orleans, I think they're done. They got
Oh,
the
yeah, they're done.
Falcons, the Bucks. So I think you're going to see the Seattle Seahawks, you know, roll some heads. And I think it's the way that they've been winning games. They beat the Browns. The Browns are rolling right now. Um, so I'm just really, excited for what the Seahawks are gonna do because, Geno Smith is not the flashiest player, but you know, he's efficient. I mean, I lied. He's not efficient.
Close
Uh,
enough.
but they just got a really good defense. They got Bobby Wagner back. They got three players with more than Love, um, Julian Love. He's one tackle shy of 100. So Diggs has 80 tackles. So you could possibly see them end the season with four guys with more than 100 tackles, which is special.
Right.
So you know I'm all for seeing the Seahawks finish strong. Um, I'm happy. I think the Browns are going to finish strong too. The Browns are going to shock a lot of people. I think they played like four different starting quarterbacks this year, and they won a game with each of them. So that should be exciting. Next up. I'm going into the. You said this is all me. I don't think you mentioned it in the. Um,
Jerry Kill interview.
yeah. Holy shit. Wait a minute. This is breaking news. Um, he just resigned.
Jerry Kill?
Yeah, he stepped down after two successful seasons.
Yeah, I saw that earlier.
He rebuilt the program. He gave everything. I told you this shit. I said it. That you know what he needed to win Conference USA. I think I did in the first episode. It's not here. It's going to be on the Spotify. Um, but basically that he did as much as he could there.
Yeah.
He hit his ceiling by not winning Conference USA, winning the bowl. So where the hell is he going? But um, shit. I don't even know what to say. I don't even think I think that's the story. I mean, I love, you know, the pipe bomb he dropped on the New Mexico athletic director. He called him chicken shit. Um, it's chasing. So
God, I love that.
dude,
That is
I love
awesome.
Jerry Kill.
Yeah.
Basically, the issue was that they were playing in the New Mexico Bowl. They're one of their biggest rivals, probably up with the UTEP, is that their biggest rival is New Mexico, and they were
Yeah.
playing in Albuquerque for the New Mexico Bowl. Um, back in, I think it was September, Diego Pavia, the star quarterback for New Mexico State, was caught pissing on the New Mexico Lobo. You could find the video somewhere. It's hilarious.
That's
It's
awesome.
it's disrespectful, but who gives a shit? Um, when Nunez doesn't let us practice in the indoor facility, he doesn't want us to do this, do that. That's chicken shit. I don't care. That's my opinion. I get in trouble. I don't give a shit either. I could go to Mexico tomorrow, drink margaritas, and let y'all enjoy your life because I'm enjoying mine. It was probably the best 2 minute rant we've seen in the last 10 years. It was very Mike Leach-esque with how little he cared.
Mhm.
He's 62 and it's a kick in the dick, for lack of a better term, that I just read that because that is something that you're gonna replay that little pipe bomb that he had.
Yeah,
Um, I hope it's not medical issues rising up again because we know he had issues at Minnesota. He
yeah.
rebuilt Minnesota and he had to leave. Um, because that's iconic. What he I was so excited to talk about it, and now he's leaving. I don't know where he would land in terms of Power Five. I mean, you think that's where he would go? Um,
Who has an available spot?
maybe as an OC somewhere. I mean, it might be something we don't know. He might know something that we don't know. But I agree with him. I feel like he did everything he could do at New Mexico State. I think the fact that Pavia entered the transfer portal like 3 days ago, um, that was his guy.
Yeah,
Pavia has a lot of Jordan Travis like um characteristics, but Jerry Kill with one of the best interviews. You guys gotta go check it out. One of the best interviews you'll see in the sport and probably like the last 10 years.
I've seen it.
Mac Brown too. Mac Brown, shit on the guy from North Carolina State. Um, Mac Brown is one of the good ones as well. Shit. I'm kind of upset because that's a great coach. That's a fun program that's getting, their legs finally. Um, but we ride with kill,
Yeah.
kill, 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 baby. Um,
Well,
next up,
I'm curious to see where he's going to end up. I mean, maybe we over the next couple of 3 weeks we need to really look into this and see. We'll know more as far as like openings and stuff like that. I mean, there's not a spot in the SEC that I'm aware of, so you can rule that out. But there are some big changes that are being made. But after the bowl games are over this week, this coming weekend, after those all the bowl games, of course, of national champions, we're going to start to see some coach movements take place. Um, I don't know, like given it just thoughts on the top of my head, I really don't have a freaking clue where he would end up going. I really don't.
um, what the shit? I just searched up college football vacancies. It's like this might be bullshit, but head football coach, University of Virginia. They haven't. Oh, I know it's backwards, but look.
No, it's not. I can see it.
So they didn't fire Tony Elliott, did they? Like,
I have no idea.
I mean, I know he went 3-7, but it's only his first year. He was two-time national champion offensive coordinator for frickin' help me out here. Clemson.
Yeah.
Um yeah, the Tulane just got the Troy head coach. Um Notre Dame, I mean Troy just hired the Notre Dame offensive coordinator. Um we talked about JMU getting the Holy Cross coach. Middle Tennessee signed former Vanderbilt coach Derek Mason.
Really?
Yeah, that's cool. And Mendenhall, Bronco Mendenhall, formerly of BYU and Virginia, is at New Mexico. Oh, oh, don't. Don't tell me that he's gonna go to UTEP. UTEP's like the only thing I'm seeing that's freaking available right now.
Certainly
And
not.
UTEP's that's so
Well,
stupid.
you can't be uber focused on this right now because you know there's going to be some more. Like I said, there's going to be some more openings come up, I think. And for that matter, should we really be thinking head coach?
No, that's he's such a great mind. I mean,
Well,
any
yeah, that's
program
a
is
given.
paying him.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry for the sidetrack, folks. That it's just that's our first time we ran into something that we didn't weren't planning for. Um, Scott, I'll let you take over. Let's get into the bowl game slate. Coming up. What game are you most excited for? Other than New Year's Six. New Year's Six is obviously, that's an episode for itself.
Right.
But what are you most excited for this week?
I mean, I'm going to be biased here. You know this already. It's going to be the Ole
Yeah,
Miss
go
Penn
for it.
State
Go
game.
for it.
I mean, going to the freaking Peach Bowl, we have talked about last week, Ole Miss hitting the portal hard. Well, boy, are we hitting it hard. We just picked up the number one wide receiver in the portal,
Yeah,
Juice Wells from South Carolina. I
right.
mean, this kid is a freaking game changer for any program he comes into. Well, not only is he coming into an established program and a rapidly growing program, uh, he's coming in with a senior quarterback by the name of Jackson Dart.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to see what's going to happen there. God knows, I wish he was eligible this week,
Yeah.
but uh, I'm excited to see what's going to happen next year. I mean, I predicted this. I called it. I said Ole Miss is going to hit the portal, or somebody's going to hit the portal hard, and I hoped it was Ole Miss. Well, thank God it has been so far. I haven't looked at the rankings right now in the transfer portal. We need to put that
You're
down
two.
on the slate for next week. We're two
You're
now.
two.
I'll take it. Hell, by next week we might be number one. We'll see.
Right.
Uh, I do want to pick out another game that you're emotionally attached to, and that's the fact that half of Florida State's freaking team is not playing in the bowl game.
Oh, we
I do
can't get into
not
that.
like this. I do not like that bullshit. They NCAA, they need to, you talk about making necessary rule changes and unnecessary rule changes like we're talking about with NASCAR. Here's a necessary rule change. You lock down the damn portal until after the bowl games. Period. You lock down, even if you have to move the NFL draft, I don't give a shit. You need to lock it down. You do not declare for the draft. You do not go into the portal until after your bowl games are over with. Period. That's it.
Yeah.
Cut and
Yeah.
dry. Give them a month to do everything instead of giving them 3 or 4 months. I mean, make it
Right.
quick.
Yeah.
Period. You will if you represented this team, you're gonna play. And if you don't play, guess what, buddy? You don't go into the portal.
Yeah.
So sorry.
Right.
You know,
Just a second. Just a second.
I don't like the lack of and this is just not with football, this is society as a whole. I don't like the severe lack of loyalty. I really don't.
Right.
It's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Work ethic and loyalty is a dead art, man.
Right. Yeah. I hope we'll be able to talk more in depth about that whole situation in New Year's Six as well. Um, one bowl game that I'm disappointed in because I'm seeing a lot of opt-outs and a lot of people enter the transfer portal. A game that would have been really intriguing, 2 months ago. You got Notre Dame versus Oregon State. Oregon State, who has really rebounded into being, probably a top four, top five program in the what was the Pac-12. Notre Dame still having a solid season at 9-3, playing in probably one of the oldest bowl games in the nation in the Sun Bowl. Probably the best matchup that bowl has had in over 10 years at the very least. That's just going to be a bunch of backups. I heard a rumor that I don't know if it was for this one or Minnesota. No, it was Minnesota. Um, they pulled 30 grand out of the NIL fund to pay this like super senior who was like a third string backup to just play in the Minnesota bowl game because He was ready to just graduate and plan for his last semester of school. Just live his adult life. So they paid him 30 grand just to play in the bowl. The bowl I'm most excited for this week, that's not New Year's Six because those are a cheat code. Like I'm gonna say Alabama, Michigan. Like no, it's for me, I'm really excited to see Arizona and Oklahoma in the Alamo Bowl. The Alamo Bowl always kind of delivers that good cinema. You know, Jed Fish at Arizona, they went 9-3, had a lot of big wins. You could say that he's possibly, contender for coach of the year, along with the Northwestern coach. Shout out Northwestern, going from 1-11 to 8-5
Right.
and beating, a very well respected Utah team. And they're playing Oklahoma. Obviously, Oklahoma is going to be without Dylan Gabriel, but they're still 12th in the country. They hold a win over a playoff team in Texas. Um, that should be fun. And I think one more I will say is Kansas versus UNLV um, in the Guaranteed Rate Bowl. UNLV 9-4 for the fighting for the chance to have their first 10-win season, I think since the 70s. And Kansas, dude, look at where Kansas has come from. They were the laughing stock of college football.
Right.
Now they have the chance to win end the year with a 9-win season. It'll be their most wins since I think 2008. So, there's a lot of good bowl games. There's some Power Five versus, Group of Five games going on. You got, um, oh, I think you're gonna like this one. Texas A&M versus Oklahoma State, a throwback Big 12 matchup. A lot of blood pumping has to be in that game. Ollie Gordon, who won the Doak Walker, he's a sophomore, so he wasn't able to declare a transfer. He's staying. He's going to be playing that game. So, um, outside of the New Year's Six and the college football playoffs, that's probably the best player that you're going to be seeing in this bowl season. So definitely check that out. The Texas Bowl. I think they play the Texas Bowl. They're playing at NRG, so that place is going to be rocking. That's going to be full of Texans, and it's going to be easy trip for Oklahoma State as well. Is there anything else that you're looking at for this week that's got you
Not
excited?
really. I mean, it's my focus is, of course, it's going to be to pay attention to the CFB. I want to see what
Right.
happens, of course, with Alabama. Um, I think Roll Tide is going to end up being national champions, but
Yeah.
who knows? We'll find out soon enough.
Ooh,
If they get past Michigan, it's over. I
it's
mean,
over.
I really don't see either one of the other two teams, whoever wins that game, to step up and beat Alabama. I just don't see it. I
Right.
don't see Michigan being able to beat Alabama. Alabama has come a long way in a short amount of time. I've been watching some short reels and features and stuff that's been coming out of Alabama this week as far as their preparation for the game. And of
Yeah.
course, in true Saban fashion, man, it is all business.
Right.
So
I mean,
for them to turn their season around and come in, start out with, like I said, if it was one team and turn around with a completely different team by the end of the season, I mean,
yeah,
that's awesome. I mean,
yeah.
Saban should get coach of the freaking year for that shit. Seriously. Um,
At least SEC Coach of the Year. I don't. I mean, I don't know who else you would give it to in the SEC. Yeah, I really have no clue who you give it
I'd
to.
like to say Lane Kiffin, but we haven't got to next year yet.
I think, yeah. I mean, the thing is, you say you don't see Texas or Washington beating Alabama. I don't see Texas repeating it. I don't see Texas beating them. I think Washington, people start saying Washington's America's team just because they don't play people that enough popular teams where people are like, I hate Washington, I hate UW.
Yeah.
Um, you look at how Michael Penix has been able to bounce back, and he crafted what was probably a dead in the water career at Indiana to possibly being like a top 60 pick, a day two pick at worst. Um,
Well,
so
here's what Washington and Texas don't possess. You ready for
what?
this? They don't possess Nick Saban. I mean, how do you coach against that man who has been to the dance how many times? I mean, it's over and over again. He is always in the running. I mean, hell, it's neither one of those teams have what it takes to take. But I mean, at the same time, you know, look at what players are not playing in the bowl games again. So there's
Yeah.
that shit. You know,
Washington looks like they're ready to go. They're fully stocked. And the thing with Washington is that no one's talking about is the rushing defense. And Alabama, listen, you don't have Bryce Young back there. You ain't got Tungavailoa. You don't even have AJ McCarron. Um, he everything starts with Milroe's legs. Everything starts with the running game for Alabama.
yeah,
They're not as high power, overpowered as they have been in recent years. They got basically gotten by on the skin of their teeth. Like they beat. I think that was the final score. Correct me if I'm wrong. They're playing USF. Granted, USF, finished the season great. 45 nothing win over Syracuse. Went from 1-11 to being 7-6.
yeah,
Um, but they won that game 17-3. Um, they got by the skin of their teeth against Auburn, and the only reason why they allowed that is because they barely rushed anybody.
yeah,
Um, he had all day to throw that ball. Um, Washington has the rush defense to really force that kid to make throws. And, it's not like it's 2017 where they bench Jalen Hurts at half and they have Tungvalo in their back pocket. I don't even know who their other option would be.
right.
Um, because the only people that really got playing time this year was Jalen Milroe and Tyler Buckner, and Tyler Buckner is a fucking lacrosse player now.
Mhm. Right.
So, I mean, I mean, we'll get into it later, but I do like Washington because I think they're the most balanced. I think they have the least ego-driven coach of the four. He's gonna put the best players on the field, and Kalen DeBoer, like he's a coach of the year contender too. Look at what he's done with Washington. I think he won a lot of accolades last year, but um, I'm excited for that. I think the biggest thing that I'm excited for this week, it's not, there's more quantity over quality this week, but it's nice to be able to have stuff to bridge. Like we talked about it earlier, how, it's Christmas and then it's New Year's. There's a whole bunch of I don't know what the hell's going on. You're basically having 3 to 4 games a day. So at least it's just something to do,
Yeah.
and you could be doing a lot worse. I mean, yeah. I mean, I was planning on going to possibly the Fenway Bowl or the Pinstripe Bowl. I'd rather not, just because I don't know how cold it's going to be. Um, but yeah, no, it's going to be a fun week because there's just so much to watch. There's a lot of,
Well, yeah, it's
money
gonna be a fun
lines
week.
that are going to be good to look at. So, yeah, that's for bowl season this week. We're gonna end with a new segment. I think we're gonna start doing every week just because it's a little lighthearted. Um, I'm gonna let Scott go first with his We're gonna do the sports movie of the week recommendations. I want Scott to go first. What is your movie recommendation of the week?
Mine is going to be the perfect game. It's based on a true story, the 1957 Little League World Series. It's about a small nobody town in Monterrey, Mexico, little league team that they go and approach a player who's his career was cut short. He ends up back in Monterrey, Mexico. They ask him to coach him, and they end up going on to win the Little League World Series. I literally, my grown ass man self wept over this movie. It's probably the most inspirational movie I've seen in like years. It came out of 2010. So how it's escaped my radar for the better part of 13 years, I have no idea because I literally just saw this movie last year.
Yeah.
And I sat right there in my room and wept at this movie. I absolutely adored this movie. If you don't watch this movie as a sports fan and you're not inspired, I feel you're just numb. You're truly numb. The only name that's really in it is Cheech Marin. I mean, he plays the priest in it, and it's just like I said, it's just all around. It's just a really, really heartfelt movie. I love it.
Where can you find it? Is it streamable?
Yeah, it's on. I have it. I would when I saw it, I purchased it immediately. I'm just kind of weird like that. It's on Amazon Prime Video.
Okay. And you say that Cheech Marin is the only name in it. If you're looking for a really good score, the guy who did the music, I just looked this up, Bill Conti, the same guy that did the Rocky
Mhm.
scores.
I didn't know that.
Um, yeah, no, I just looked it up. And other two names, Bruce McGill, he was in Animal House and Collateral,
Mhm.
and another good name that you might know, Louis Gossett Jr., who won Best Supporting Actor when he
I
was
forgot he
in.
is in that movie. Yep.
Yeah, he was Officer and a Gentleman, and you have a couple young guys that ended up becoming famous um on Disney Channel. You got Moises Arias and Jake T. Austin, and Ryan Ochoa. Yeah, no, it looks really solid. Um, great story. It's always great to see, a fairly well-made movie that broaches on a subject that doesn't really get touched a lot.
Right.
So, The Perfect Game, it's on Amazon Prime. I'm sure it's able for purchase on
Yep.
YouTube and a bunch of other spots. My recommendation, um, is about a sport that technically doesn't exist. Um, in the not too distant future, wars will no longer exist, but there will be rollerball. Uh, the year is 2018. There are no wars. There's no crime. There's only the game. It's basically like a I wouldn't say dystopic. It's probably utopic because of how the wars are not really a factor anymore. James Caan is in it. James Caan is electric in this. And the best part about it's just a really violent movie and it has a lot of social commentary. Um, Most importantly, it's about how corporations kind of reign supreme and it's kind of a commentary. This thing came out in 75. It's 50 years ahead of its time, talking about how basically that's kind of how we got lobbyists in Washington, corporations just kind of run amok. They have all these offshore accounts, offshore money, you have all these, this military complex, industrial complex, and at the end of the day, it's just this is basically an omen to what life can be like. It's the downside of consolidating and kind of forgetting who we are as individuals. It's a cult classic for me. The action's really tense. It's like a thriller version of Slapshot, in my opinion, because it pulls no punches. And I just, 70s for me is I mean, you could disagree with me. I think the 70s is the golden age of movies.
Yeah.
Um, you could stream it now free with ads on Freevee as well as with um Amazon Prime. It's also available for purchase on YouTube for $3.99. I got the Blu-ray. I did originally watch it. I think on oh shit. Woo! Paramount Plus. I'm good. Paramount Plus about 6 months ago. Uh it's so good. So Rollerball is my recommendation. Have you seen it?
What year did it come out?
75.
No, I have not seen Roller.
It is so good, dude. You need if you get bored with the bowl game this week,
Hey, bro,
some
you had me at Slapshot. I mean,
it's not funny though at all, but it's like it's filmed in the same manner where um they'll show the blood, they'll show the hits, they have the really good sound, and it's really story driven as well. And it's kind of cool because it's kind of like they have a Houston team, they have a Tokyo team, and each of them have their own. It's kind of like the Warriors, where each kind of squad has their own identity. And I don't know if it. I mean, I'm going off of memory. I don't remember if it highlights um it's like people from each district or if there is like free agency going on
mhm.
within groups. But yeah, no, rollerball is for me. It's kind of like the Hunger Games on steroids. It's the Hunger Games if it was good. Um, so yeah, rollerball. Check it
Give it a
out.
shot.
Um, I think that's gonna wrap it up for us tonight. We'll try to get something out by Friday regarding CFP.
Definitely.
There's a lot more we need to get into, especially with FSU and the ACC. We're kind of pivoting away from the lawsuits that people are putting in and what senators are doing. This is something that actually has water. I think it holds water. I think it has merit. Um, and I think it truly gets down to the biggest issue of why we were left out of the CFP. Hopefully, we'll have news regarding, the Red Sox. Better news about the Bruins. I mean, I don't even know what the hell your hockey team is. We never talk about hockey.
Bruin.
Um, Bruins.
Yeah.
And ooh, guess who just won a game tonight? The New England Patriots. They
What?
hit they hit a 56-yard field goal as time expired after blowing a 23-7 lead.
Oh God.
And the best part is they're 4-11. And you know what that means? They still have a top three pick. So you get a little serotonin boost,
Right.
you know, and they get the dub. So
Right on.
and they're still in line to get a top three pick. So, life goes on. Bailey Zappi is him. So we would like to, from me and Scott, we would love to wish you guys all a Merry Christmas
Absolutely.
and stay safe, stay healthy, stay happy. Take care of yourselves and take care of each other. Enjoy the bowl games, enjoy the vibes, and Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, y'all. Thank y'all.
Merry Chrysler.